easy lesson. It's like taking a break. Okay. Oops. Now, let's have a look here. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at, are we ready, guys? What we're going to have a look at is factorizing quadratics. Now, this isn't a big lesson, so we'll be able to start the second lesson a little bit sooner today. So we don't need a lot of time on this. Before we look at how to factorize, let's look at the other direction. So if I said, let's say expand x plus 1 times x plus 2. I think we all know how to do this. X by x, x squared, x by 2, 2x, 1x, and then 2. So the total is x squared plus 3x plus 2. If I want to go the other way, so if I want to go from here to here, that's called factorize. And if I want to go from here to here, that's called expand. Okay, now, I think you can all see expanding is easy, factorizing is harder. How do we go from here back to the start? Okay, so I'll have a look at some examples. I think you should at least write down these two words. You'll need them for the exam, expand and factorize. Now there's no trick for factorizing. You just need a lot of practice, that's all. So let's have a look at some examples now. I'm going to do 4 examples. Start with an easy example and they each get harder. Can I scroll down?
Yep.
Yeah. So, the first one to factorize is x squared plus 15x plus 54. There are 2 reasons why I say this is an easy one. The first reason is we have both pluses here. Okay, that makes it easy for us. And also what makes it easy is that, well, what number is here? 1, yeah. Does anybody know what you... Oh, actually, I don't think I gave you the word for this. But I'm sure some of you have seen it before. But this is called a quadratic. This type of problem, equation is a quadratic. Does anyone know the adjective that goes here to describe a quadratic that starts with a 1? Does anyone know what adjective goes in front of the word quadratic?
Simple.
Simple is a good guess, but no. You need to think of a word that means 1.
Unit.
Very good, but not yet unit. But we're thinking along the right lines. Do we know other prefixes that mean 1? Single? Good try, not single. Say again? Ooh, good, but not this. No? Oh, yeah, go on. Nearly, yeah, you just need to make it an adjective. Mono's a prefix, so as an adjective, do you know what it is? No. Monic. Yeah. So monic, of course it is. What else could it be? So monic quadratics are easier to deal with because they start with 1. Okay, so how do we factorize this? So what we do, we start off, we put down 2 brackets, put an x here and an x here, and because it's plus and plus, it has to be plus and plus here. And then what you need to do is think of two numbers which multiply to make 54 and add to make 15. So what two numbers multiply to make 54 and add to make 15? What do you think? 9 and 6 should do it, isn't it? Because 9 times 6 is 54, and 9 plus 6 is 15. So 9 and 6 is the answer here. So you see, there's no real trick to it. It just comes with practice. Okay, so let's have a look at a harder one now. Let's try this one. X squared plus 4x minus 32. Now, this one's a little bit harder because you have the minus at the back and the plus in the middle. Still monic though.
You just make one of them.
Yeah, just one of them.
Yeah.
Because why not both of them?
Because when you multiply a negative by a positive, it becomes.
Yeah, it's because you multiply a positive by a negative to make a negative at the back. So we need, now this is harder because you have a minus in it. You need to think of two numbers that multiply to make minus 32 and add to make 4. Now, just before you go on with the two numbers, remember that because they add to make plus 4, which is the bigger one, the bigger one should go here. Because you want them to add to make a positive, and the smaller number goes here.
So 8 and the positive.
So what do we say? 8 and 4, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 and 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. 8 times minus 4 is minus 32. So that works out. Okay. Right, let's do another one, another minus one. So let's say x squared minus 6x plus 5. Now, we need two numbers that multiply to make a plus but add together to make a minus. So what are their signs?
Both negative.
Both have to be negative. They have to be. We need them to multiply to make a positive 5 and add to make a negative 6. So what's that?
5 and 1.
Has to be 5 and 1. They multiply to make positive 5 and they add to make negative 6. Okay? Right, now on to the harder ones where they're not monic, but we'll start with an all positive one first. 20 x squared plus 61x plus 36. Yeah, now it's getting harder. Yeah. So, firstly, thankfully, it's all plus. At least we have that. So it's a plus here and a plus here. But what's different now is this guy we have to consider as well, the 20. So in this box and this box, we need two numbers which multiply to make 20. Then here and here, we still need two numbers as well. And just to be clear, what happens is, if I use arrows here, the two red boxes should multiply to make 20. Okay, that's fine. The two blue boxes, what should they multiply by to make the 36? But how do we get the 61? Well, we get it by doing this. We do an outer multiplication plus the inner multiplication. That has to make 61. Now, there's so many possibilities here. Let's just try one and see what happens. So, you don't write this down until we know it works. So, what could multiply to make 20? 10 and 2, or 5 and 4. And what could multiply to make 36? 9 and 4 could do it. So, let's just see, don't write this down, let's just see what would happen if we tried this. We know 5 and 4 works and 9 and 4 works, but do we get the middle part right? So 5 and 4 is 20. 9 and 4, 36. 20 and 36? It's a little bit too small, isn't it? So we'll have to try it. What could we change maybe 6 and 6? Does that work? That's 30 and 20, isn't it? No, that's 30 and 24. That's no good as well, isn't it? Alright, maybe it's the 5 and 4 we have to change. Oh, we still haven't tried 18 and 2, have we? 18. No, that's way too big. No, okay, it's not going to be 18 and 2. That's going to be too big. 4 and 9, but maybe the other way around. 9 here and 4 here? Oh, yeah. 4 here and 9 here, maybe? That makes 16, and that one makes 45, and that makes 61 then. Okay, so we got it in the end, eventually, after trying a couple of possibilities. Okay, so you can see there's not a lot to write down. Yeah. Let's do one more example. Let's do the hardest one now, which is not monic and has minus in it. Yeah. Okay. So let's scroll down a bit. 20x squared minus 3x minus 2. Okay, so one of them has to be a plus and the other one has to be a minus. We need two numbers here, and we need a number here and here. Well, 2 is good. It can only be 2 and 1, or 1 and 2, so that's helpful. Although the 20 could be 2 and 10. I'm feeling like 5 and 4 might be good, but let's try something. 5 and 4. And put a 2 somewhere. 2 here. This would make 8. And that would make 5, which would make it 3. Do I have the signs right? No, I don't. The signs are the wrong way. If I put the plus here and the minus here, this makes minus 8, and this makes 5, and you add them together, and you get minus 3. Yeah, so we have it now. Yeah. There's no, like I said, there's no secret to these. It's just as a matter of practice. You'll get quicker at doing them, that's all. Now, there's other ways to work with quadratics, as you probably know. There's formulas and things like that. Sometimes it's quite rare, but sometimes in the exam they might want you to do this explicitly. They might say, factorize this. Okay, now, that doesn't happen too often. Maybe only 5% of the time they would give you a question where they would say, factorize a quadratic like this. Okay, but it could happen in the exam. I've seen it at least once or twice where they say factorize a quadratic. Okay, so you do need to have some practice with it. Now, they might be kind to you in the exam and at least not make it have a number in the front. Maybe a little kind to you. Okay, but you should prepare for the most difficult one, which would be something like this. All right. So what we'll do, look, we don't need a lot of time on this. I think we'll just practice these for about 10 minutes and then we'll start the next lesson. Okay, so we'll give you 8 to practice. We'll say 2 of each type. So we could do 1AB, 2AB, 3AB, and 4AB. Try those 8. You should get them done in 10 minutes. That's only a minute and a bit per question. So, I want you to try. (3AB and 4AB).